storing your physical goods, and those physical goods stay there and are safe and can't be destroyed or taken. Obviously, in homesteads, there's opportunity there for PvP raiding and all that, but I'm not going to go down that road. That's a fully different type of feature. But in terms of inventory, that's where we have this kind of local inventory. So what is local inventory? Local inventory is going to be a local inventory for the area that you're in, but it's not physically represented. Now, that doesn't mean it's infinite. It's still limited in terms of what you can put in it, but it'll be localized to, say, a landing zone, or localized to a ship. So a large ship would be able to fit more things in than a small ship, and a landing zone would be able to fit in probably the most amount of things, because that's equivalent to like your hangar where you're storing all of your gear. So the next step that we want to go towards is kind of allowing personal inventory for you to be able to store items in, so that you can actually have that gameplay loop of, what am I going to take with me? I can actually open a bottle of water and drink it, and then, God forbid, put the lid back on and store it and keep it. And, you don't have to drink it all in one go. And, that will allow that kind of gameplay loop of what you can take with you.
Now, we're all familiar with basic inventory management in the game. And, this is the screen that we use to navigate through the mobiGlas to add different pieces of armor, different weapons to our character. Navigating it, using it is less than ideal. It's a tier 0 implementation, right? They're basically, what CIG is doing is they're just kind of putting in basic functionality. They make a UI around it. They're like, there you go. Here's your character. Here's how you put on your gear, your armor, all that stuff. We're used to this. But I think that when they're talking about localized inventory, I would like to see it maybe go a little bit more specific when you're actually managing your character's inventory. Let me show you what I mean. Hopefully this is what CIG is going for specifically. So let's say we get a mission. We got to go here to this moon, in this case Daymar, and we got to pick up a guy, Takashi Ortega in this case. He's holed up in this little joint here, and we got to catch him. It's for a bounty, whatever. So we got to go into this place now. All the different moons and all the different planets in Star Citizen are going to have their own unique environmental factors, things that we have to account for when we're going into a location, because obviously we're going to want to wear, armor to a certain degree, depending on how difficult we think the mission's going to be or how much distance we're going to have to cross on foot. Luckily here, we're very close, so we can wear heavy armor. But we're going to face some unique environmental conditions wherever we go. So we're going to have to pick, a suit of armor that is relevant to that environment, or better suited, I think would be a better word, to that environment. Now, traditionally, how we do this is, we open up the old mobiGlas and we decide, okay, let me go and actually switch on my gear. And we have to navigate this menu and one by one switch all the pieces and kind of, navigate around through these menus and scroll downs. And it really is less than ideal. What I hope CIG is going for is, when they're talking about localized inventory, I don't just mean like localized to the ship, but localized perhaps to separate sections of the ship. So in this case, we're standing, or we're about to be, there we go. We're standing in front of a gun rack. So let's say we stand in front of this gun rack. We know there's some guns there. We hit our I button for inventory. And instead of these two menus here, we have a large menu over here that contains all the weapons that are on this gun rack, perhaps ammunition, grenades too. And over here on the other side, we have their traditional MMO style, 2D map of your character. And so from there, we can actually reach over to the guns and we can just drag and drop them onto our character. And when, while we're doing that, our character will do the animation of picking up the gun off the rack and either putting it over their shoulder or carrying it in their hands, depending on how deep you want to go with the system. So by doing this, and then, especially in other ships where you have extended gun racks with room for a lot more stuff like grenades and whatnot, or medikits. Well, not medikits in this game, but the little EpiPens sort of cure all, miracle cure. What's the stupid name for those things? But you know what I'm talking about, right? You can load up all that stuff, and then you say, okay, well, now I've got my guns. Now what I need is a set of armor. So I would go back to habitation where my lockers are. I stand in front of my lockers once again, open up my inventory, and now I can drag and drop armor. Everything kind of gets bounded into one storage box, whatever's stored in this local area, and I can just kind of drag and drop that onto my character rather than having to kind of scroll through all these different menus to pick individual pieces. But we're not done there. Oh, you know what? What happens if we're down there for a long time? Maybe we need water, maybe we need food. So we come over to the kitchen, bang, once again, open up our inventory. Now we see the kitchen inventory. We drag over a bottle of water, a couple of candy bars, or maybe, maybe like a carrot or a stick of celery if you're feeling much more healthy, that sort of thing, so that when we go out on this mission, we have everything that we need. Maybe we have a second set of guns there, maybe some heavier weapons or some lighter weapons, depending on, every ship can accommodate different amounts of weaponry. And so I think by building a system like that from the ground up, it keeps the game much more immersive and much more realistic. And it still gives you the chance to kind of do the one thing that Star Citizen really doesn't have right now, which is picking up the guns, placing them on your character. When you do it out of the mobi-glass, they just appear in your hands. When you put on your armor out of your mobi-glass, it just winks into existence on your character. Eventually, we're going to have to actually put these pieces on, right? Unless we just plan for these pieces to just appear. Now, there are certain pieces like chest pieces and legs that could be maybe a bit of a tall order to do all those animations, but you kind of see where I'm going with this. I think that if you're talking about local inventories, I think going beyond just the general, like a ship inventory or just a general, let's say your bunker or your hangar type inventory, that you can actually put specific items in specific places, and then just by going there and hitting the I button, you then see those items, and as you're kind of dragging and dropping things over, other people are seeing your character, especially animate and pick up that gun or pick up that armor and actually put it on. Now, another place that we could apply this is, okay, let's say we're getting into the bunker, we know where this guy's holed up, we go in and, blam, 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 we just take this guy out, we just shoot him up. But maybe he's got some stuff stashed in his bunker. Let's say that over behind me, right there on the shelves, he's got a whole bunch of stuff, maybe some kit, maybe some food, maybe some guns, whatever, and I want to access these things. Like here, space beans on the counter, and I don't know what those other things are. So, there's some water down underneath there as well. So maybe I want to take these things. Now, the traditional way is that we would interact with it with the F key, and we would pick up the thing, and do you want to stow it? Do you want to carry it? Blah, 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 blah. But here we could bring in the same inventory system, and we can drag and drop things over to where we want it, and our character could just animate and put these things away while we're kind of managing our inventory this way. And of course, from the outside, rather than just standing there, we would actually be picking up things off the shelf to any other observer. Like, it would actually look a lot more natural without having to kind of go through that really painful and, frankly, it's just imperfect, I think would be the nicest way to put it, inner thought system. I think kind of merging, traditional MMO, personal inventory management with Star Citizen's, unique environments and unique ways of like storing things. I think you can bring both of those together and do away with the inner thought system almost altogether. And so from the outside looking in, it looks a lot more natural and a lot more immersive. and the player can actually sit there and manage their inventory and organize things while their character is kind of going through all the animations. I mean, even if we could kind of get the mobiGlas working a lot more smoothly, it's still an unrealistic experience in my mind. It's, you know, as a player, because like I'm just picking things out of the mobiGlas and swapping them on two menus, and then it just winks into existence on my character. I think that this would be a lot more natural of a way to manage personal inventory, and something that would be a lot more immersive than, you know, the current system. Even if it evolves to a certain degree, I don't think that it's really all that great to begin with. I think that it was kind of, you know, let's say an unfortunate detour. In all honesty, when CIG was talking about personal inventory management, and they were talking about items on ships, like, you know, how you're going to be able to ensure different weapons and different components that you've installed on your ship, I think that stopping there is a bad idea. I think that what we should allow players to do as kind of a quality of life feature is, even if they have to pay like a little extra on the insurance, they should be able to insure weapons, food, armor, things like that. And so when they get their ship back, all of that is replaced. And we should move to more, 2D drag and drop menus for ship modification and ship equipment. Not just like, equipment as in engines or shields or guns, but, the personal equipment that those ships are going to carry, much in the same way that we can hopefully soon spawn a ship with another vehicle within it. I think that this should be a natural extension of that system. And so when we get our ship back, if our ship unfortunately gets blown up, that all those things come along with it. Ideally, I would like to see us get away from the mobiGlas, or the mobiGlas at least in the way that it exists currently, in terms of, personal inventory management and ship inventory management. And I think the ships and the personal inventory should move to kind of a drag and drop 2D menu where we have our local assets and we can just equip them that way. I think that that's a lot more user friendly and easy to manage than the current system, which looks okay, but using it is, after you've used it about the 1,000th time, the visual flair dies and the inconveniences really start to kind of grate on your nerves. So I would hope that, when CIG is talking about local inventories, that they go beyond just the idea of this is what you have at a hangar or this is what you have on board your ship, and they actually allow you to manage inventories, like when you're standing next to a gun rack or standing next to an armor rack or a clothing storage area or a food storage area within your ship. I think that would overall be, at least in my opinion, a better system. And hopefully in the future, when they bring this online, if they manage it correctly, I think that if they kind of build these kind of ideas of boxes around certain areas of the ship, that it's something that they could more easily universally apply to a whole bunch of ships, and maybe make things go not faster, but a little bit easier, make it an easier going for them, getting these things done. Anyways, hopefully this is something that we do see in ships very soon. It seems like CIG is very keen on it, and now, once again, this is another one of these reasons why I keep pointing out these medium ships and these, kind of conveniences that come with them. Something really to think about when you're looking at what ship that you want to fly in Star Citizen.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.